That myth is that gayness orbits around straightness, transgender orbits around cisgender, and that all races orbit around whiteness.
What you're about to hear from Anne Hathaway is not only ammunition for the next round of this war, but also complete validation of everything you fear about where this is headed. Actress Anne Hathaway spoke in front of the Human Rights Campaign, a major activist organization and lobbying group here in Washington, on behalf of the LGBTQ on and on and on community. And she had some pretty incredible things to say about the organization and the movement.
What I love most about this community is the way you own the alphabet. LGBTQQIAAP. No letter left behind.
Now, I guess that's funny and cute, and I'm sure the audience really enjoyed it, but it's not true. She's not being genuine here. What she really loves about that community is that they do her hair and makeup and wardrobe so well on a regular basis. And let's say, when you're a Hollywood actress, you got to be on the right side of this community. Otherwise, you're not going to look so good in front of the camera. They have ways.
No, for real. What I love about this community is the freedom. The freedom that comes with being yourself, all of yourself. I love the energy, the activism, the generosity, the light, the shade. The fun. I love the dignity that accompanies self-acceptance.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen one of those gay pride parades in a major American city where people are dressed up in leather thongs and dog masks with whips and gyrating their half-naked bodies in front of little children. There's nothing that says dignity more than that sort of free expression. Now, she moves on in this speech, though, and says something that listen, for those of us who are in this regular cultural conversation right now in America about where things are going with regard to transgender activism, and especially how it affects our children and how we should have the ability to raise our children outside of the dogma that's being thrown down by the political and cultural Marxist left in this country. What you're about to hear from Anne Hathaway is not only ammunition for the next round of this war, but also complete validation of everything you fear about where this is headed.
It is important to acknowledge that, with the exception of being a cisgender male, everything about how I was born has put me at the current center of a damaging and widely accepted myth. That myth is that gayness orbits around straightness, transgender orbits around cisgender, and that all races orbit around whiteness. I appreciate this community so much because it's where I learned to reject this myth. I appreciate this community because together, we are not just going to question this myth, we are going to destroy it. The walls built in fear will crumble, they will disintegrate. The old world will shatter, and the pieces that no longer serve will melt. A new world will emerge, forged from this community, from your seismic imperative message that love is love.
Here you go. Love is love. That's the message we've been hearing for years now. It all started with most recently it started with the push for redefining marriage to be same-sex marriage, as well as the traditional understanding of marriage that we've had for, thousands of years. And we were told at the time, of course, that the reason why we had to redefine marriage in this country was so that partners could get Social Security benefits and visit their loved ones in the hospital, and pass on property and wealth in their wills. Never mind the fact that all of that was a lie, except for the Social Security part. But of course, we could have made a change to Social Security laws without redefining marriage. But if you were in a same-sex relationship and you had a living will and said that this person has the right to make decisions, then yes, including hospital visits, all of those decisions could be made. Of course, that goes, by the way, the same with people who were in a heterosexual relationship without the benefit of being married. They would have had to do the exact same thing. Otherwise, their partner wouldn't have been able to make life and death decisions in a hospital. These are laws that have been around forever. You didn't have to redefine marriage to be able to achieve those things. But we were told they just want to have the ceremony and they just want to bake a cake. And of course, they could have had the ceremony and baked the cake if they wanted to. They didn't need to redefine marriage for that either. And we've gone a long way now from that argument to where we are now. Anne Hathaway is a Hollywood actress, and she was literally reading lines there. And the fact that she got emotional and started crying, I mean, it might touch your heart, but also recognize that she won an Oscar for crying quite a bit while singing a song in the movie Les Miserables about how she had just been raped. And I don't think she actually was, so she can figure out how to cry whenever she needs to cry. So I wouldn't let that affect you. No, what you need to do is look through the emotion and the performance and actually listen to what she's saying. They want to upend heteronormativity. They want to upend the idea that the norm in our culture, in our society, is one man and one woman building a family unit together. You know, the way we're biologically created. You don't even have to have religious faith to understand the science involved here. That whole idea of gayness orbiting around straightness, or transgender orbiting around cisgender, they're going to blow all that up, you see, because gayness doesn't have to be the thing that is the alternative to straightness. Who said straightness was the default? Who said straightness should be what we are striving for? That's really what's going on here. And she just said all of that quite out loud if you were paying attention to the words. This couldn't be a bigger fight. It couldn't be a bigger battle that we're in the middle of right now. And for everybody who says that we're waging a culture war, understand something. We've actually been just fine the way our society has been structured and built up right up until about, 2.5 minutes ago. And now suddenly everything that we have built in this culture worldwide is now suspect and the problem and needs to be destroyed. And the Human Rights Campaign, the organization that led the fight for same-sex marriage, where a lot of us thought, well, once they got what they needed, I guess they'd disband. They'll break down their organization. I mean, what's the point? The whole point of the Human Rights Campaign was to achieve same-sex marriage, and they've achieved it. But apparently, they've got a lot more work